In this lesson, we're going to be creating objects. There's a couple of things you're going to learn here. One of them, and it's not apparently obvious, probably the most important thing to influence what's going to be generated is going to be the shape of the selection. You can use any of the selection tools in Photoshop, but resist just, using a marquee tool or whatever. Think about the shape that you want to generate. That actually is the biggest influence, even more so than some of the keywords. Now, the keywords are going to be very important. As far as keywords, you don't want to use anything like make her taller, make her smaller. Those kind of things don't really mean anything. What you want to do is give it a noun, the object, which would be maybe a ball or a guitar, for example, cat, dog, and then give properties, the color, the material, what it's made out of. Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it old? Is it new? Is it wrinkled? Is it warm? Is it on fire? These are the kind of words that we can use. Now, in Adobe's guides, they say between 2 and 8 words is what they recommend. Now, most of the time, you can actually get away with just one word if your shape is right. Let me demonstrate. So let's put a ball in her hand. Now, I'm going to grab the elliptical marquee tool. And I'm going to draw a circle. And let's put about here because we want to generate a ball. All right. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can see it better. Okay, so we've created this area and now we want a ball in here. I'm going to hit Generate Fill. And we're going to hit Ball. Now it's going to generate a ball. And it will put it where it should be in the fingers. It won't go over the top of the thumb. That thumb should be gripping around it. And there we go. Look at that. So we've got a ball. We've got 3 options, but we're not giving it any directions. We're just saying create a ball, but we know it's going to be a round ball because we created a round selection. Now, if I wanted to change this to a baseball and we hit generate again, notice we're still on that same layer, that generative layer. When you click on it, you can go into the properties panel and you can change the prompt. I could change the prompt up here on the toolbar as well. But we're just going to do it from here, and we're going to choose Generate. And now it's going to create a baseball. And there we go. We've got 3 different options as far as a baseball. Now, as far as size, the size of your selection is going to influence it, but it's still going to try to create it at the right size. But the other thing you'll notice that the lighting matches, depth of field matches, everything like that. Now, if you wanted to give it other properties, we could perhaps make it a yellow baseball. I don't know if such a thing exists, but let's just generate one anyway, just to show you how we can vary the properties. So remember, the selection is telling us we've got something round. There we go. And now we can create a yellow baseball. All right, let's look at something different here. Let's change the shape of this. So let's go into the elliptical marquee tool. And now I'm going to make something more oblong. So let's make it a little bit smaller. All right, so I'm going to pop this in here. And guess what? Without telling it a football, I'm just going to tell it a ball. But I'm pretty sure we're going to get a football, American football, because of the shape. So you're kind of guiding it with that shape. Now, if I tilted that, it would be at an angle. But right now, we're just going to do it. And look at that. There's a football, and she's grabbing a hold of it. There's 3 different options. Now, as far as the size or anything like that, once again, you can vary the size by changing it. But look at that. All right, let me demonstrate what we're doing here just a little bit more here. I'm going to grab the lasso tool, and I'm going to make a shallow selection around her head. And I'm not going to go very high, and I'm going to tell it to create a hat. And we're going to hit generate. Now, I've got a pretty good idea it's going to create something like a beret or some kind of a hat like that because of the shape that we've given it. And okay, so we've got these interesting hats here, but you can see that shape is influencing the kind of hat that we're getting. Now, if I wanted something more like a top hat, I would make a selection here. I'd go lower on the head so it could go down a little bit more, and then I'm going to go higher to give it more room. And now I'm going to take a hat, and now it's going to create something like a, top hat, party hat. Might be one of those conical hats because I am going a little bit narrow at the top. But I think we can pretty safely, we're going to get, top hat, right? Look at that. Because of that shape. Now, here's the interesting thing. At any time, I can go back and choose the other objects. But before we do, let's do another one. What if we want a beanie? We know we need to go low. So we give it room to kind of sit. And then we're going to go up. But let's not go up too far. Let's go up a little bit, giving it enough room there for a beanie hat. Now I'm going to hit Generative Fill. And there we go. Now we're getting something that looks like a beanie, just because of the shape. Now, what if I want to get the one that has a little ball on top? So we can add a new layer, but let me show you how you can modify an existing mask. So if we select here, and now we're on the mask, and let me control click load that selection first. Now I'm going to hit the Q key. The Q key is giving me a quick mask. So what I want to do now is I'm going to grab a brush, and I'm going to expand the size of our selection. I'm going to go larger so we've got room to put that little ball on top. There we go. Hit the Q again, and now we go back to a selection. So that's how it kind of toggles between a selection and a mask, is the Q key. But what I want to do here is I want to make sure in this mask that I fill that area with white. Hit the D key to reset the foreground background color with that mask selected. Hit Option Delete. That's going to be Alt Backspace on Windows, and then Control D to turn off the selection. So essentially all we've done is we've just modified that mask. Now without doing anything, I'm going to go back to our layer. Notice our variations still exist. And I'm just going to hit Generate again. And we can see, we're definitely getting that type of hat. What if we want to get a red woolen hat? Let's just type this in. And then we're going to hit Generate. And there's the three options we have there. All right, let's go a little bit further. So why don't we just make a selection around her clothing here? I'm going to go down a little bit, and we're going to change her dress into workout pants and a red t-shirt. So we're going to hit Generate Fill. Type in red t-shirt. And look at that. There's a second option, a third option. And you see how we can change those kind of properties. Now her hair's gone a little bit curly. So what if we select her hair, hold down the Shift key, select the hair on the other side, and then just type in straight hair. Okay, there's the three options we've got there. It's definitely straighter, but it's not exactly what we want. So let's start with the one in the middle here, which is closer, and then we're going to hit Generate one more time from the Properties panel. And there we go. That's a little bit more like what we were looking for. That's more like your natural hair there. So another thing we can do is we can actually just create objects out of thin air. And why don't we get a couple of cats going here? I want a cat that's lying down, so I'm going to make a long selection. Because notice that if it fits the cat in there, the cat is going to lie down, generally speaking. So let's do cat. There we go, little kitten, that's cute. There's the three options there. I think I kind of like that first one. Now remember, these are generated. So let's put another cat over here. Meaning it's not cut and pasted from a photograph. These are actually generated. Let's do another cat. This one's probably going to be sitting or standing. And notice I interchangeably enter the prompt in the properties or in the generate panel. And look at that. We've got a cat that's standing. Oh, look at that. Could be its mother. All right. So if you think about what we had before, let me drag this over here. I'm going to hit the Alt or the Option key and click. Here was the before image, and there's the after image. So some things to bear in mind. When we are working in these layers, all of these layers, we can still access them. See that? And then when we access these layers, the variations are in there. So if we wanted that different variation of that football, we could click in there and change the football. See that? If we wanted the variations of the cats, we could do that. You know, if we wanted to go back to that round ball, we could do that as well. And then when we click on it, let me pull the properties panel out. All the variations that we created are still there. So I can select one of those baseballs if I wanted. Now, the only place where this wouldn't work is when we start to get overlap. Say, for example, if I go in here and I try to change the variations of these hats, they might work or they might not. Okay, in this case, we're going to be okay. But if I try to do the hair, I think we could run into problems. So let's go here, and we could try the different hairs. Yeah, you can see they're getting a little bit messed up in the shirt up here where they overlap. Look at that. All right, that's how we add objects.